there's a few different ways that you can mount your VHF. Here in the package that I've got with the Raymarine, the Ray63, I've got the option of mounting it, and in fact most VHS will have this option to mount it on a bracket. This is probably the most simple way to set it up. However, I'm going to be mounting this, flush mounting it here in the nav station, because I did have an old VHF there that I'm going to be replacing, and I've got the space there. I might as well use the space. So I'll be doing a flush mount. Here's the panel. It was a lot smaller because the last VHF was a lot smaller than this one, so I had to just widen the hole. And in your kit you'll find you've got these mounting, or these kind of like stencils that you can follow to cut out your flush mounting panel or space on the bulkhead or whatever you're going to be cutting out to mount your VHF. And I actually don't have the right gear on board. I didn't have the right size hole saw and I didn't have a jigsaw. So it made my job a lot harder. I got there in the end, but it took at least 3 times as long as it should have. I had the wrong size hole saw to cut out the corner bits here, and then I cut it out with a cutting tool on a multi-tool, and then from there a huge amount of sanding, so much sanding. But I got there in the end bit by bit. In the kit they actually supply you with one of these gaskets. So what you need to do is, once you've measured it all up, got it all in place, then you actually get this gasket and you stick it on in between the unit and the panel like that, and then that'll just give you a little bit, especially if you're mounting this out on deck. It just gives you some water protection so water doesn't seep in underneath the unit, and also gives a little bit of vibration protection as well. And then flush mount in that panel like that. Now to secure it in place, what you actually have to do is drill 4 little holes in the actual cover of the VHF itself, and also in your mounting plate on the back as well. The holes are located underneath this bezel here, so you've got to take that off and then find the little holes and drill it yourself with a 4mm drill bit. Sounds pretty scary, not such a big deal. Trick is, with drilling, just don't go too hard, too fast, take it nice and easy. If you need to, you can always go backwards, so sort of use reverse on your drill just to kind of get the little dimple so that you got the spot right, and then go forward and go nice and slow, steady pace, and then slowly make your way through. So that's a 4mm drill bit. And to get the bezel off, what you actually have to do, you got these like little, I don't know, they're kind of like little tabs almost. You got to get a flathead screwdriver and really, really, really carefully just kind of loosen them off. You'll hear them pop. There you go. Pop. And then, there you go. Should be it. There we go. And that just comes off there like so. And then in the corners you've got these like little marks where you drill a hole in the front of the unit, which will then be through bolted, and they supply you with the bolts in the package. So then they'll be through bolted with a backing nut onto the panel that you're going to be flush mounting your VHF on. And then the fist mic here, that attaches to the front, and then that's just got a little bracket that's also supplied here in the kit. And then you just basically screw that on close to the unit, easily accessible, and then that will plug into the front of the unit there, and then the fist mic will sit next to it. And you got your VHF set up, and then you got to get into the electronics, which is a little bit more complicated. I'll go through the cables. This might be interesting for you, I don't know. But cables, GPS, so that'll hook up to your GPS antenna if you want an external GPS antenna to boost your GPS power. Power cables, it's just your standard positive and negative with an inline fuse. And one tip is to always have backup fuses for your VHF. In fact, any device on board before you set out. Plenty of backup fuses. You got your NMEA cables. Probably won't be using that on this particular install, but maybe in the future. And then you plug your aerial cable into the back here. So here is my aerial cable for my system. Everyone's is different, so this is what mine looks like, but essentially it'll look the same going into the back. And then that is going to go in to this port right here. Bang, in it goes. And twist it on. That'll be my aerial. It'll go from this device all the way down and up through that mast to the very top. And in the back of these VHFs, you will find that there is a little white port here, and that's your STNG network port. So you got to put this white and black cable in. This is a spur cable. So you put that in there, twist it. Now it's nice and locked in. And then that cable is going to go straight into your network. On another thing that you should remember is if you're going to be using a VHF here in Australia anyway, you actually need to get a license. So you need a short or a long range radio operator's license. There's a few other options as well. I suggest you get in touch with AMSA, so AMSA. They will help you out. They'll tell you what you need to get. The course is relatively simple, quite easy. You can do it in a few days. So you need your license if you're going to be using a VHF radio, and a specific license if you're using an HF radio as well, which is the long range. VHF, you can just do a short range course and that'll do it. Marine Rescue Sydney, Marine Rescue Sydney. This is Giselle requesting radio check. Over.